Welcome back for our third and final video in the Study Skill video series. In this series, we've talked about the differences between studying in high school and college and talked through how to get the most out of your studying. In our third and final video, we're going to talk about the study skills to put in your toolkit for after class when you are reviewing the content that you learned in lecture. These skills can help anyone, whether or not you're in college. A quick word before we get into it. All the strategies that we're going to share today are individual tools. Different classes, different teaching styles, and different academic terms are going to require that you adapt your skills slightly every time. Hi, my name is Mohika Nagpal, and I'm here to be your study buddy in crime. There is no way you can use all of these strategies every time for every class. Try a few things out until you figure out what works for you, and be open to pivoting a little bit. What works for chemistry may not work for gender studies. There's also a lot of overlap between these principles. Let's divide study skills into 4 main principles: organization, consolidation, repetition, and active learning. Organization. This includes the actual mechanics and logistics of studying and time management. On average, you should expect to spend 1.5 hours reviewing for every 1 hour of lecture. Of course, this differs with every class and how well you already know the content for that course. If you use a calendar, carve out approximately that much time for review. A key to staying organized is to make to-do lists and set reasonable goals for yourself. If it's a day that you have 3 classes, swim practice, and you have a shift working at the library, maybe you don't get as much review on that day, and that's okay. Focus on the time-sensitive stuff. This is a marathon, not a sprint. Find 2 to 3 spaces that you like to study in. Make sure they're well lit, clean, and free of major distractions. Check out different libraries, student lounges, cafes, and study spaces in your area. Also designate a space in your room to study for those long nights when you'd rather stay home. If you're living in an apartment or a house, one recommendation is to study in a different room than you sleep. Having a separation can really help your brain draw distinctions between study time and rest time. If you live in a dorm room, that may be less possible, but do your best. Finally, breaks. Prioritize your mental and physical well-being. Sleep, eat, exercise, shower, socialize. Your brain acts like a muscle in this way. It needs rest after training to recover and strengthen all those connections that you just made. Even taking 15 minutes away from what you're working on to do something different helps you feel so much more refreshed. Again, remember, marathon, not sprint. And a break doesn't mean you don't have to do anything. If anything, mindlessly scrolling through Instagram may not actually help you feel very energized. Take a screen break if you can. Talk to your neighbor, stretch, go outside, or pair chores with a break. If you have to do laundry anyway, grab your laundry bag, go put it in the machine, and then maybe take a loop around your building before coming back to your studying. Bam, hitting 2 targets with 1 arrow. Consolidation. This means actually putting the pieces of what you've learned all together. This is the process by which your brain connects what you already know to the new stuff that you're learning. To help put the picture together, here are some of my favorite tried and tested methods. You could write out your own 1-pager study guide that serves as a quick reference tool for a topic. You could draw out a concept map or a diagram on a whiteboard that visually ties together things that you learned last week to the things you've learned this week. You could make flashcards, and most importantly, you could and should attend any review sessions or office hours offered by your professor or teaching assistants. Repetition. To help information move from your short-term memory to your long-term memory, you have to repeat it. Think about it. Remember when you had to learn all the 50 states and capitals in school? Did you get all 50 states right the first time? No, right? You had to practice. You had to repeat that skill for it to enter your long-term memory. It's the same with your studying. Some ways to reinforce the content is to reread your notes, do flashcards, rewatch your lectures if they are recorded, or read any associated textbook chapters that your professors may recommend. Timing is also important here. You may want to start this reinforcement right away. Do a first pass of the review the same day as the lecture while the information is still fresh in your mind. Then do it again the next day. Then maybe wait 2 days and do it again. Spaced repetition is one of the strongest reinforcement techniques out there, and once you get your rhythm down, it becomes a habit. Finally, active learning. Let's start by defining two words here: recognition and recall. Recognition means that you can recognize the correct answer when prompted. This is like picking the right answer on a multiple choice question. Recognition requires a more surface level understanding or memorization of the information, knowing just enough to be able to pick it out from a group of wrong answers. One level deeper than that is recall, which is to be able to reproduce certain information on your own with or without a clue. This is like filling in the answer to a short answer question. Recall engages more parts of your brain, requires stronger connections to form in your brain. The more often you train your brain to recall something, also known as active learning, the more likely it is to settle into your long-term memory, and the more likely you are to actually understand the underlying concepts. By focusing your review on active learning, you are training your brain to understand that concept so that you're prepared for any kind of question, whether it's a multiple choice, fill in the blank, or a short answer. Some techniques for active learning include talking out the material with a group of friends, practicing teaching the material to a classmate or a stuffed animal or a real animal who said dogs can't learn a little history, and doing practice questions. The crux of active learning is that you use multiple senses and modalities to review the content. On the other hand, passive learning is less engaging and includes just reading the material or just listening to a lecture recording. Also, it's not as fun, nor does it stick as well. As we said, there's not one right way to study, but rather multiple combinations of techniques you should use to maximize your studying. Studying is an art that you have to learn, but with the right tools, you'll be smooth sailing through your classes. And hey, maybe you'll actually enjoy and grasp what you've chosen to study. Organization, consolidation, repetition, and active learning will bring your study skills to the next level. We hope you found this video helpful. If you have any questions, let us know in the comments below. Be sure to like and share this video. Take care!